economic will be stable over time.
What else? So economic stable, what else? Okay, the student next to you.
I think with the interest rate, when the interest rate in the US is higher than, when your investment in the US market is higher than compared to Vietnam, so you will the firm will prefer to invest in the US market. So the demand for the USD currency will shift to the right, and for the resource, when you find out a scarce resource in the US, so many firms in the foreign will invest in in that field to to exploit. So the demand for the foreign currency for USD will shift to the right, and
Okay, thank you so much. What's your name?
Quota.
Okay. So thanks Quân and Dan. Other student. Okay. many. Okay, the monitor first. You and you. Okay, the monitor first.
I think the fundamental factors that affects the demand curve lies within the formula, the GDP formula, which is the C plus I plus G plus the trade balance. That is the fundamental factor that shift the demand curve. The C stands for the consumer spending, I stands for investment spending, and G stands for government spending. And trade balance is export minus imports. So that is the factors, the fundamental factors. Other factors like interest rate, like the
Yes, I know, but I want you to show exactly that factor, how the factor make the here. The question is making demand curve shift to the right, not shift to the left, because
Yes.
the factors you have just mentioned will make the demand curve shift either to the right or to the left. But I want you show me the factor making the demand curve shift to the right.
Yeah, for example, the government, the G factor comes separate spending. If the government enact the fiscal policy expansion, that they spend more by lowering the tax, by boosting the consumer spending, by lowering the tax, like the VAT. Like for example, in Vietnam, they lower the VAT from 10 to 8%. This will boost the consumer spending. So
This is domestic consumption. This is not foreign consumption. This is not international consumption. Because VATs, you know the VATs, value added tax, one be for the citizens, Vietnamese citizens, and for using domestic goods. Here, when I ask you about the demand curve, it's the demand for the USD. That's what I'm saying. So it means that the VAT tax. Is it your case? Yeah. So in your case, you show the example of VAT tax. But the VAT tax, when it reduced from 10% to 8% for some commodities, it just affect the domestic consumption. It means that it's not directly affect the international consumption. Am I right? But the demand here, the demand curve here is the demand for foreign currency, or here is the demand for USD. It means that the VAT, even is it reduced or not, it doesn't have direct impact on the demand curve of USD. It's of course will affect the demand of consumption, because the VAT reduced, but just for the Vietnamese citizens and domestic consumptions. Again. Yeah, you.
I think that all the previous students have mentioned the right points, but they only explained it not very right, so I want to help them.
Yeah.
So basically, the four factors of GDP, the C, I, G, and X can affect. But we should look at from the points that from the Vietnamese buying the USD. So the demand for USD will increase when we see that there are many profitable opportunities to invest in the US, so that we exchange more Vietnamese dong into USD, and then the demand for USD will increase, and the curve will shift to the right.
Okay.
And to the consumption, we can see if more Vietnamese come to the US, or more Vietnamese want to buy items from the US, like the US can manufacture something that Vietnamese companies cannot, then the demand for USD will increase, and the curve will also shift to the right. But I have some other points. Another point that I want to add, that in a period, the surging demand of USD can arise due to the worries of the money holders in Vietnam, that they scare that the VND will depreciate, so that they want to store USD. So that, for example, if I am an importing company, I think that in the future Vietnam will do some revaluation step. So I will buy more USD in a time. And if many firms do this simultaneously, the demand for USD will increase in a period, and this will also be the surging demand for USD in a specific time. But it is only the short term, because in the long run, the exchange rate will fluctuate, as we all know, because of the intervention. But in the case that we are now saying about supply and demand, no intervention from the government. So it is a case that can happen.
Okay, thank you very much. And other student, C, I, G,
and X.
yeah, G, X minor, okay. Okay, so thank you very much. Good. Other student, do you want? Can you? And other factors, okay? And other factor as well. Okay.
I think another factor is the global uncertainty. So, because the USD is known as the safe haven currency, so when there's a global uncertainty, the investor will buy more USD to protect their wealth. So the demand for USD will be increased.
So you mean the factors? Do you say again?
Global uncertainty.
Global uncertainty.
Yes.
Global uncertainty. Okay.
And another factor is that the market indicators and economic data, because many traders believe that historical patterns generated by factors can be used to predict the future price movement. So positive data will boost their confidence in the USD, and they will buy more in USD and increase the demand.
Okay, thank you very much. Other student and other factors as well. Okay. The last student. You are bonus? Any bonus for you? Not yet? Or 20, 0 or 25 last time? The manager, remember? Okay. So 0 or 25 30.
I think that when there is a higher inflation in Vietnam,
Inflations, okay.
then investors would want to buy USD to keep the purchasing power. Another factor is, I think that when investors expect depreciation of the Vietnam dong to the USD, so the expected depreciation would also lead investors to purchase more USD, again to keep their purchasing power and prevent the loss of value of the Vietnam dong.
Okay. Okay, everyone, thank you very much. And I know that you have investigated the factors affecting the demand curve, and I also find very interesting for all your answer. Very creative. When you think the factors related to GDP formula, okay? And now we come from your preview and also from the aspect of GDP formula as well. C is consumption. Customer. That is, I forgot the name. This is consumption. Yeah, it is an individual consumption. Yes, individual consumption. Here, first of all, the factors. First of all, we know that when the demand shifts to the right, demand curve shift to right, it means that demand increase or decrease. Decrease. It means that the demand of USD or the demand of foreign currency increase. And we have to investigate what factors making the demand of the foreign currency increase. Okay? Now, we consider the first letter here is C, is the consumption, the individual consumption. Individual consumption here, of course, is consumption of foreign goods or foreign commodity. Yeah, when they use more, when the Vietnamese people use more imported goods or imported commodity, so the demand for foreign currency or USD will increase. But the question is what factors make Vietnamese persons, Vietnamese people use more imported goods? This is what I want to ask you. Okay. And the first factor, the student, what's your name? The last lecture. The last student, I'm sorry. Lâm Yi. Oh, okay. Lâm Yi says it's inflation. Inflation, okay, right. So inflation here is that inflation in Vietnam or inflation in US? Inflation is Vietnam. And we not only consider the inflation in Vietnam, but we need to compare it with the inflation in US. Yeah, when inflation in Vietnam is higher than US. So the goods in Vietnam, the same goods in Vietnam will be more expensive than in US. So it is encourage the Vietnamese people import